In the very heart of the Pacific Ocean, there is an island where nature behaves unexpectedly. Here, far from major continents and human interference, predators have completely changed their behavior. Lions and wolves, once ruthless hunters, have stopped hunting. Their diet now consists exclusively of plant-based foods, fruits, leaves, and roots. They live side by side with their former prey, sharing the shade of trees with deer and zebras, showing no aggression. The first mention of this island appeared after a report from a group of biologists who returned from a private scientific expedition. According to them, the local ecosystem developed in complete isolation for thousands of years. This allowed the animals to evolve and adapt to conditions where hunting was not necessary. Instead of a struggle for survival, coexistence instead of blood, green shoots, and berries. Zoologists recorded a steady decrease in aggression levels, as well as a complete absence of territorial conflicts. Videos from the island show an adult lion lazily chewing on a melon, while a pack of wolves picks up fallen papaya fruits. This discovery called into question everything we knew about predators. But how is this possible? And most importantly, can we believe it? Did you believe it? The story about the island of vegan predators is pure fantasy. Not a single real mention, no scientific publications, no satellite images. Neither in zoopsychology nor in ethology have there been any recorded cases of carnivorous animals voluntarily giving up meat in favor of plant-based food. Lions, wolves, tigers, their biology and behavioral instincts have been shaped over millions of years, and all of them are hunters. Such myths don't just appear and spread for no reason. They play on people's desire to believe in miracles. Viewers want to believe that an alternative to cruelty in nature is possible, and this desire is turned into a commodity. The documentary format without evidence is a genre where the main thing is not truth, but trust. The viewer doesn't look for sources, doesn't check the facts, but trusts their emotions, especially if the story is well presented. Beautiful video, meditative music, a narrator with a confident voice. All of this creates the illusion of truth. But truth is verified by facts, not by editing. So why does this story seem possible? The thing is, predators do sometimes eat plants. But that's not at all what you might think. A predator cannot be a vegan. Lions, wolves, and other predators are physiologically incapable of switching to a vegan diet. Their stomachs and intestines are adapted exclusively for digesting meat. They don't have the necessary enzymes to break down fiber like cows or deer do. Their teeth and jaws are designed for tearing flesh, not chewing grass. Even their eating instincts are passed down genetically. Hunting is hardwired into their behavior. If you put a wolf or a lion on a purely plant-based diet, within a few weeks it will start to suffer from exhaustion. Animals have no moral concepts, no vegan philosophy. There is only biology and survival. There have been attempts to change the diet of domestic predators, especially among dog and cat owners who try to feed their pets a plant-based diet. With dogs, this is still possible with supplements, but with cats, it's absolutely not. Without meat, they die. This means that no islands, experiments, or attempts to re-educate nature are possible. But still, predators sometimes eat fruit. And here's why. When lions eat watermelons. In zoos and reserves, it's not uncommon to see lions and tigers gnawing on watermelons, mangoes, or berries. These images have gone viral, and many people have started drawing conclusions based on them. Maybe predators really are becoming omnivores? But it's important to understand these scenes don't indicate a change in diet, only a temporary curious habit. For predators, fruit is a treat, not a staple food. In many cases, they simply play with the fruit or lick it as a source of water and sugar. It's not a substitute for meat, but rather a supplement like dessert is for humans. None of these animals get the necessary amino acids, vitamins, or fats from fruit. The behavior of predators can change depending on conditions, heat, stress, or limited space. In zoos, animals try everything they're given, out of boredom or because of the smell. But this in no way indicates a change in their diet. And yet there have been attempts to change the diet of predators, not only in captivity, but also in the wild. Some enthusiasts and scientists really did try. Attempts to make wolves go vegan. In the early 2000s, experiments were conducted in Europe and North America to change the diet of semi-wild dogs and wolves in captivity. Some research groups tried to find out whether it was possible to adapt the diet of predators to a more ethical model of nutrition. Already in the first weeks, alarming signs began to appear. Weight loss, deterioration of fur, apathy, and reduced cognitive activity. The wolves began to experience metabolic disorders, liver problems, and a deficiency of taurine, an essential amino acid that they obtain exclusively from meat. Attempts to add plant-based substitutes did not help. Their bodies could not absorb them in the necessary amounts. Even with the use of modern supplements, none of the experiments produced positive results. All the animals either returned to a meat-based diet or became ill. These cases clearly demonstrated the limits of what is possible. A predator cannot be a vegan, no matter our intentions or technology. But things are a bit different when it comes to domestic pets. Dogs, cats, and a plant-based diet. In discussions about veganism for predators, domestic animals often come up. Dog and cat owners are increasingly trying to switch their pets to a plant-based diet. And while compromises are still possible with dogs, the situation with cats is much more complicated. Dogs are omnivorous animals, genetically adapted to living alongside humans. They are able to digest certain types of plant-based food, provided that their diet is carefully balanced and supplemented with artificial additives. Some pet food manufacturers offer special formulas without meat, using pea and soy protein along with vitamins. But cats are a different story. They are obligate carnivores. This means their bodies require amino acids and nutrients that are only found in meat. For example, taurine and arachidonic acid. Without these elements, irreversible problems with vision, liver, and heart can develop. Even short-term veganism can be fatal for a cat. Attempts to make cats and dogs vegan are often driven by good intentions, but they ignore basic biology. A pet cannot consciously choose its diet. A human makes that decision for them. This means the responsibility lies entirely with the owner. With predators in the wild, things are even stricter. They cannot be re-educated, and nature quickly weeds out any mistakes. But what if we try to remove predators from the ecosystem altogether? An ecosystem without predators. Predators in nature play far more than just the role of killers. They are regulators. Their presence maintains the balance between populations, restrains the reproduction of herbivores, and affects the state of vegetation. This was clearly demonstrated in one of the most famous natural experiments, in Yellowstone National Park in the United States. In the mid-20th century, wolves in Yellowstone were exterminated. At first, it seemed that the ecosystem would only benefit since the threat to deer and other animals had disappeared. But within just a few years, serious changes began to occur. The populations of herbivores increased sharply. They started eating trees and shrubs along the rivers, which led to bank erosion and a decrease in biodiversity. It was only after the return of wolves in the 1990s that the restoration of the natural balance began. The predators not only reduced the number of herbivores, but also changed their behavior. Deer began to avoid open areas where they used to graze freely without fear. As a result, forests and shrubs began to recover, and with them came birds, beavers, otters, and even the river system itself. This experiment showed removing predators means destroying an entire network of connections. Nature does not work like a fantasy where everyone lives in peace. It is built on balance, where each has its own role. But if the role of predators is so important, why do so many people still believe stories where they suddenly become kind? Fake documentaries. Documentary films have always inspired trust. They are associated with facts, scientific evidence, and the truth. That is precisely why fake documentaries have become an especially dangerous tool for manipulation. They look real, beautifully shot nature footage, a narrator with an academic voice, graphics supposedly quoting research. But everything inside can be pure fiction. Viewers get the impression that they are watching not entertainment content but a scientific work. Creators of pseudoscientific projects take advantage of this, presenting speculation as fact without any evidence. The topics range from vegan lions to talking dolphins, all filmed in the style of supposed leaks or confidential studies. Such videos often use clips from real zoo and wildlife footage, but take them out of context. For example, a shot of a lion gnawing on a watermelon is presented as proof of a new diet, even though in reality it's just a common form of environmental enrichment for the animal. The viewer, especially one who is unprepared, does not notice the deception. He is convinced by the presentation, and the more professionally it is done, the easier it is to believe. That is precisely why, in today's world, it is important to be able to distinguish science from a visual spectacle. Especially on the internet, where pseudo-documentaries go viral much faster than any scientific article. Pseudoscience on the internet. The internet has become the main source of information and at the same time the main breeding ground for myths, especially those concerning nature and animals. The algorithms of social networks and platforms like YouTube and TikTok are designed to promote not facts, but whatever provokes a strong reaction. Stories about vegan wolves or gentle lions are the perfect content. They surprise, spark debates, and are widely shared, especially if the video is presented emotionally, with beautiful music and attention-grabbing titles. The problem is that such videos often look convincing. Pseudo-experts with fabricated biographies, references to non-existent studies, editing with real footage of wildlife. All of this creates an illusion of truth. Real scientists and science channels are losing in this race. Their content is more complex, takes time, and doesn't always evoke instant excitement, which means it gets promoted less. That's how myths take hold. They become new knowledge that is passed from viewer to viewer. Manipulation of trust. The human brain is wired to recognize patterns and trust authority figures, especially when information comes from a screen, be it television, YouTube, or a narrator's voice. From childhood, we are taught that the voiceover tells the truth, and the more convincing the tone, the less we doubt it. When a viewer hears about secret footage that the government supposedly doesn't want to show, their attention is immediately engaged. This creates a sense of being privy to a secret, to a revelation. The effect is amplified if the video starts with something incredible like vegan predators. The brain registers, this is important, I need to watch until the end. Manipulation of trust works especially effectively if a person lacks basic knowledge of biology or ecology. Then anything that sounds confident is accepted as truth. The audience becomes vulnerable. They believe that the video is a study, that the footage is evidence, and at that moment, critical thinking shuts off. Understanding this mechanism is the first step to protecting yourself from myths. But there is an even deeper reason why we are so eager to believe in the kind predator. When climate affects behavior. Climate change is already transforming the behavior of animals today, including predators. Shifts in temperature, droughts, and shrinking habitats are forcing many of them to adapt. But that doesn't mean predators are becoming vegans. The changes are happening on a different level, in migration routes, hunting strategies, and the timing of activity. For example, in Africa, predators have started hunting at night more often. The daytime heat has become unbearable. In the Arctic, polar bears are increasingly found near human settlements in search of food. Melting ice is reducing their access to seals. Some wolf populations have started hunting smaller prey, adapting to the disappearance of their usual species. In the tropics, there have been recorded cases where jaguars have begun to eat a greater proportion of fish and reptiles due to the decline in mammal populations. But even in conditions of acute meat shortage, predators do not switch to eating grass or leaves. They may starve, die, or change their habitat, but they will not eat cabbage instead of meat. This is a key principle of natural selection. Animals change their behavior within the limits of their physiological norms, but projecting human morality onto nature is a completely different matter. Myths about the humanity of nature. Humans tend to attribute human qualities to nature. We say, kind wolves, cruel tigers, wise elephants. Such definitions are convenient. They make the wild world understandable, almost fairy tale-like. But nature is neither kind nor evil, it is functional. Predators do not kill for pleasure. Their motivation is survival. Killing is a way to obtain the calories necessary for life. And if it seems that an animal has spared its prey, it is most likely a matter of situational lack of necessity, not an act of mercy. Attempts to see humanity in the wild lead to a distortion of reality. This is exactly how legends arise about vegan lions, about friendship between predator and herbivore, about miraculous harmony in the jungle. These stories are pleasant, they touch the soul, but they do not correspond to reality. By projecting morality onto animals, we lose our objectivity. We stop understanding the real mechanisms of ecosystems and start expecting from nature something it never promised, humanity. But behind these expectations lies not only naivety, but also a deep need to believe in something better. Why do myths persist? People have always wanted to believe that the world can be gentler than it really is. Myths about a friendly nature satisfy this inner need. They give the feeling that it is possible to build harmony not only among people, but also in the wild, without conflict, without fear, without predators. Stories about vegan wolves and peaceful lions are not just fakes. They are modern mythology. They spread because they carry emotional weight. They touch, inspire, and give hope, especially in a world where people increasingly feel separated from nature. Scientific data rarely evoke emotions. They require reflection, analysis, and patience. But a myth is instantaneous. It goes straight to the heart. That's exactly why even educated adults sometimes prefer to believe a beautiful lie rather than dry facts. And yet, science brings us back to reality, step by step. Yes, it's not always comfortable. Yes, there are no fairy tale islands with peaceful predators in it. But it contains the most important thing, an understanding of how our world works. And it is precisely this understanding that is the first step toward genuine respect for nature, where everyone plays their part, even those whose teeth are sharp and instincts are ruthless.